Welcome to my podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about The Mist. I'm pretty sure all of you know who Stephen King is, but in case you don't, here are some of the stories he wrote. It, Shining, Silver Bullet, Shawshank Redemption, Children of the Corn, Salem's Lot, and also The Monkey. Right now I'm going to keep things simple, or as simple as it can get, since someone turned on the smoke machine and now I can't do jack shit. The Mist is a story about a big fog that rolls into a town in Maine, trapping a bunch of people into a supermarket. I listened to an audiobook on Spotify, so I'm kind of caught up with the lore. When it comes to the story, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. The idea of what happens when people lose their sense of normalcy and big-ass monsters in the mist. I think the movie adaptation did the book justice, and that ending was fucking wild. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. As much as I'd like to talk about the movie, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to talk about the show that came out a decade later. In 2017, Spike TV aired a season of another adaptation of The Mist, except it wasn't an adaptation. Instead, we're with a bunch of new characters pulled from somewhere, and with a new story to boot. I found this on Netflix a year or two after it came out, and I watched it, and it was mid as fuck. I remembered almost everyone being an insufferable dillweed, and going back 6 years later, my thoughts are still the same. But I'd like to go in depth about, most of the things I noticed when rewatching this, both the movie and in the show. Before we get into it, I had to sail the 7 seas to get the episodes and shit. If you see the quality fluctuate, or you see TV14, Spike, or hashtag The Mist in the corner, that's why. Anyways, let's go. The movie is pretty much a play-by-play of the book, like I mentioned, with some small changes. Characters are basically the same, as well as the plot. The show, like I said before, goes in the opposite direction. It has a similar premise, sure, but the mist just appears. There's no storm that leads to it. It just shows up in the beginning. Before the mist, we get to meet the main characters we spend the entire season with. We meet this guy who wakes up next to the mist with a bugged memory and goes by the name of Brian Hunt, at least for now. He had a dog, but something in the mist got him.
Something killed my dog. It killed my dog, and there was something in the mist.
He doesn't say it with enough oomph like this guy in the movie.
Something in the mist! Something in the mist! Cook John Lee!
He's then arrested, and then we get to meet our new family, the Copelands. They're coping real hard with how much they're in this show. Alex, the daughter, Eve, the mother, and Kevin, the father. Alex is basically the quirky daughter in every story involving teens. Young, pretty, and into the jock. Eve is the controlling mother who has very questionable morals. She's also ginger.
Ah, sick!
Kevin is the laid-back dad, willing to do whatever it takes to keep his family safe. Trust me when I say that Kevin is one of the best characters in the show. There are also some side characters that are worth mentioning, like the police chief and his son Jay, the jock. There's also this druggie who I thought was the same actress from The Edge of Sleep, but I was wrong. And then there's Adrian, Alex's gay best friend. We know this because he tells us.
I promise I will follow you wherever you want to go when you fall in love with a guy, okay?
For a girl, I don't fall for gender, I fall
For personality, sure.
He's kinda gay.
Also because his father's got a hearing problem, but this only applies when he's got makeup on for some reason.
You know your father can't hear you when you're wearing makeup.
Look, show's rules, alright? Don't get mad at me. There's also an old hippie couple, the Ravens. The missus will be more important later, and yeah, she was Arthur's mom. Most of the cast meets up at the high school football game. After the game, Jay asks Alex if she can go to the party. Eve says no, and they leave. Kevin tells Alex she can go, but she has to bring Adrian with her. Things are going well, at least for the time being.
What's the fat doing here?
I'm here to hook up with hot football jocks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let him go!
The next morning, she comes home crying, telling her parents she's been raped by someone at the party. Adrian says it was Jay. After the sudden plot anvil that was the assault, instead of helping her teen daughter get through the traumatic event in her life, Eve decides to blame Kevin for letting her go to the party and takes her to live with her sister. She's right to be upset, but getting upset at the daughter going instead of, what happened is just so bitchy. It's bringing back shitty memories of the Shapesmith debacle and the boys. A day later, the Ravens see the animals acting up. They head to the library to find out what's going on, and they stumble on an article describing something called the Black Spring. This was mentioned in the book, but it never had any impact on the plot. It was just a theory they had. Kevin heads to the station to report the assault.
You should get the window fixed and then go to the police with the harassment.
But Adrian is there to be questioned, and everyone in town knows about it the day prior.
What?
Shouldn't it already be somewhat documented if the police question Jay?
What are you, retarded?
Eve brings Alex to the mall to pick up Valium pills and maybe listen to Relapse Refill. On the drive there, Alex stands up for herself, as she should. Mother of the fucking year over here.
You just don't want me to do what you did. But guess what? I won't, because I'm nothing like you. You're embarrassing yourself at school, and
What do you mean do what I did?
everyone knows
Knows what?
that you were a slut.
They arrive at the mall and run into one of the moms that got her fired. This character goes by Mrs. Carmody, and that scowl just screams, I'm a miserable person. You should be at fault for it. Mrs. Carmody was in the book and the movie as sort of an antagonist. She's a religious nut who believes the mist is an act of God, punishing us for all the shit we've done.
And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power. And no one could enter the temple until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were completed.
She eventually gets a mob going and sacrifices people into the mist before she's shot down and killed by Ollie Weeks. Or should I say Ollie Peaks, because he's the fucking best. At this point in the show, the mist rolls into town and our groups are set in stone. The Mallrats, the Churchies, and the Kevins, because I don't know what else to call them. The Ravens head outside, trying to find their bikes, but things don't end well. Mrs. Raven ends up at the church. Speaking of, we'll talk about that first. The Churchies are basically where the philosophy of the show comes into play. Mrs. Raven, in case you can't tell, isn't very right in the head. This is made apparent when she was in the library.
Woody, I thought we agreed you'd stop looking for conspiracy theories on the internet. You know, Dr. Cleric says it's not good for you.
Basically, she believes that the mist is here because of Mother Nature being fed up with our bullshit, and is fully convinced after the death of the moth guy. In case you couldn't tell, the priest doesn't take it well. He tries everything in his power to get people to believe in God, but he fails. After a failed murder attempt, the two come to a standstill and decide to settle it.
We walk into the mist, you and I believe God will spare me, as I am sure you believe nature will spare you. Whoever dies, we will provide an answer for the people here. They will know who to follow. I'm willing to risk my life to give them that answer. Are you?
You see how this kind of falls apart when you think about it. Don't get me wrong, it's good to answer questions, but some things should be left unanswered, like the mist. Why is it here? How did it get here? We don't know, and I think it's better that way. I am aware that the mist is another dimension in Stephen King mythology, but I'm not talking about the books. I'm talking about in the movies and shows and shit. In the movie, there are a few possibilities for what made the mist come. It could have been God's wrath, as described in Miss Carmody, or the Arrowhead stuff. Though there was a plan to reveal what the cause was, the movie keeps the mist a mystery. I think that benefits the movie extremely well. Here, however, the 4 horsemen come to judge who's right and wrong. They kill the priest, dragging him away, which proves that the mist is an act of nature. This removes the mystery of the mist, which kind of hurts the show. Jay's father is also a part of this group, and I think he has the best character arc in the show. He starts off as a shitty person, but over time, he becomes more empathetic, even towards Raven's beliefs, until her eventful death. The Mallrats don't really have anything going on.
Maybe you are part of it. That's why you killed her.
We have to stand for this. We're not your prisoners.
Alex and Jay goof around. He gets mad, and the occasional situation happens, like a kid dying. Yeah, like I said, nothing crazy. Also, there's a lady who looks like Shelley Duvall. With Kevin's group, their goal is to get to the mall because Eve and Alex are there. Not much happens with them in the beginning, since they end up in the church for a bit. But after a gas station encounter, they end up at the hospital. And the guy from the beginning finds out who he really is. Before, we were led to believe that his name was Brian Hunt. But at the hospital, there's someone else who's also named Brian Hunt. We found out that the Brian Hunt we were following is actually a guy named Jonas. And when they get to the mall, we find out he's a sergeant at Arrowhead. Okay, then why was he put through some shit? What did he do to deserve it? Did he fight back? What is he doing? I don't think we'll ever find out. What we do find out is the answer to the age-old question. When Alex explains what happened, she says that Adrian saw it all, or rather, knows what happened. If that's the case, why didn't he do anything about it?
I tried to. But your son's friends held me back.
No one held you back. Nothing happened. You just hate my son because he's everything that you're not.
It was Adrian. Adrian did it. Then a mere 7 episodes later, the truth comes out. Baby boy Adrian stands up to his father, which would be a good thing if he didn't come clean. So basically his reasoning for doing it is because... Just take a look. Tell me yourself.
I had to. I wasn't gonna let her choose someone like Jay. It's okay. She loves me.
He did this because he was afraid someone, Jay, would take his alley poo away from him. He's just an incel, and not in the way of, oh, he's a weak little shit. I mean, like, he's a fucking lunatic. He's just obsessing over this girl for who knows how long. And instead of just saying how he feels, you know, like a normal person would, he decides, fuck it, does the most horrendous thing ever, and then, you know, blames Jay, because she'd rather be with him than Adrian. After Kevin finds out, he gets knocked out. Somehow, and is left to die in the mist. Thank God the GameStop guy was there to save him. That's all I can squeeze out of the main plot and characters. Now to the real meat and potatoes.
After watching the premiere, I found myself wondering, where are all of the monsters? since we don't physically see any monsters whatsoever. Though I guess technically we do, as in the Mist TV show, man is truly the monster.
Now, the monsters aren't necessarily needed, but they help elevate the story. With the monsters they have here, it feels like they were trying to make a show based on The Fog from John Carpenter, but they lost the licensing or something, so they just went back and made everything The Mist. Like, look at the lineup we have from both versions. Tentacles from Planet X, Cockroach Man, Scorpion Flies, Mothman, Terror Buzzards, Shadow People. Do I need to go on? The show teases us with the possibility of a monster at the end of a pilot, where Mrs. Carmody is attacked by something in the mist. She runs to the window, missing her jaw, and then is pulled away by something in the mist. Nothing creeps up to her to grab her. She's just yanked away by like a string. There are a bunch of scenes where a monster could have just showed up, like what I just mentioned. A tentacle could have just come in, taken her away. Imagine how dope that would have been. What about when Miss Raven and the priest go out? Instead of the 4 horsemen, it could have been like the big arachnolobster thing. And when the priest started praying, it could have just like taken him, you know, scooped him up in its claws and just like walked away. I understand shows didn't have movie budgets back then like they do now, but there were many opportunities for these iconic monsters to show up, but instead we got shadow people and bugs and leeches. They had the budget of something like The Mandalorian. We could have gotten the behemoth or something like that. Hell, you could have put in the flying kite. I don't care. That's something. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, there's one more thing I want to mention before I end things off. Now we get to the finale. Everyone's at the mall, and shit's about to go down. If you remember, I mentioned that Eve had a hate boner for Jay, but not like how Adrian did. This is because Alex is actually his half-sister.
I was already pregnant when I met Kevin. He didn't want to know who it was. He thought it was better that way. I'm so sorry. There's a reason you couldn't be with Jay. You understand?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Eve fucked the chief. This was kind of hinted at halfway through the show, but I just assumed Alex was Mike's, Kevin's older brother, because Eve was known to hoe about, and Mike knows about it. I mean, they said it was a small town earlier, but whatever. But someone on the writing team said, nah, incest. Do a little bit of incest, why don't we? It worked in Star Wars. We tried doing it with Dexter one time. You know, they loved it. They love the incest, let me tell you. Also, Adrian gets the shit kicked out of him, which is deserved. Yeah, there isn't really much to say here. Family gets kicked out of the mall. Jay dies trying to save Alex. The gang rams into the entrance of the mall, killing just about everyone in there. The chief comes along with them, and they leave before things get fucked. Or more fucked. Jonas and the other Arrowhead guy leave as well, and Adrian is a stowaway in the car. Yay. After a bit of driving, the gang sees a train roll up, and a bunch of soldiers throw prisoners out into the mist. Kevin looks on and assumes that they're feeding the mist, and the show ends. Wow. If I had to predict where the show would have gone, it would have went like this. The Arrowhead guys go back to the base and see the portal open a tiny bit. They try to close it, but something fucks up, and the tear between worlds gets bigger, letting out the monsters we know and love. Either that, or I'm just coping hard. Yeah, this show was cheeks. Never watching it again. Just watch the movie instead. It's way better. If you liked this, please hit that red button and bell. Like and comment and such. I'll be back when I can.
Anyway, have you hit the fucking bell yet? Let's just make it stay as long as possible before I get annoyed in like editing and I just have to put it away.